right, so I want to, hey Tina. Very, very happy Thursday. I'm happy for you. Okay, so I wanted to talk about our collective destiny. And the reason why this kind of came up today, now remember I promised y'all 15 minutes per 30 days. We are on day 3. Maybe 31 days. I'll do a special one for Halloween. And I have I know I need to wake up. I got a client after this, and then I have another one later, and then I might have another one after that. So it's a busy work day, which is fine. Usually Thursdays and Fridays are. Oh, just so everyone knows, I'm doing some love readings. If anybody wants a love, because I just feel like doing card readings lately. So I was like, if anyone needs a love reading, message me. I'm doing a discount on it just because it's fun, you know? So I had written this poem that was channeled, and it really has, I'm gonna do a full metaphysical breakdown of this. This is really just one part of it. I'll read it to you guys, and then it's Let the Sages Sleep. It is on my YouTube. That's why I put the link there for you. So this poem was channeled, and it was crazy because I remember a lot of the lines in my head. So as I do my studying, my research, different aspects of this poem keep popping up. So I'm like, holy shit, this is like some real shit that I was channeling, that are like, you know, these metaphysical concepts. And that's sometimes how they come. We get the channels, we get the downloads, and then we're like, my life has changed. You know, my consciousness has shifted. And there's a part in here that has to do, hey Justice, there's a part in here that has to do with our collective destiny as us as individuals and the planet as a whole. And each individual that chooses to do their work, that chooses to be on their path and do their purpose, every single one adds into the collective destiny, which is why it's so important that we're all getting on our paths at this time. Even if we do it in our own way, because not everybody's path is this major big. Some of you only came to love your family and shift the dynamic in that particular family. But there are many, many of us that are doing our spiritual work, and we're spiritual warriors and stuff, and we came in and we designed our bodies and our astrology charts and everything so perfectly so that we could fulfill our destiny in a major way. Okay, so I'm going to read. This is going to resonate with a lot of my spiritual warriors that are here, but I'm going to read this. Then I have to pull up a page out of here because I wrote some notes on this, or I can actually pull it up on my phone. It'll be easier that way. Okay, so this is called Let the Sages Sleep. I usually have to read this walking around because it has so much energy to it, but we'll just do it this way. We are the ones fighting off your gods, fighting off your gods, your gods, your gods. We are fighting against you, raging like the ocean against the defiled energies of our ancestors. Call me Savior and my gang, spiritual warriors untamed, cleansing your past sins and ignorance, breaking your chains. Let the sages sleep. Let the sages eat, this time through the fire of our inner sons, burning up the ignorance, climbing the ladder to ascended thrones, the one sits at our feet. We put in the work, raging against a programmed reality, entities and principalities earned our keep in the world after this, ancient souls ascending into harmony. DNA weavers, ascended master healers, mumbling in tongues not seen for 1,000 suns, and you have the audacity. Don't remember me, because I don't uphold your peace. Your warfare wasn't ready for these ones. The Titans are here, revealing that which you fear. So that's the poem. A lot of energy. I'm happy, like, Almost no one's home. She said, yeah. All right. So now this particular, I'm not going to keep reading this over and over again because I'm going to do a full breakdown on this. But this one part was really resonating with me. And that's the part that I'm going to do a breakdown on. And it actually comes up later too. I mean, there are mythologies about weavers and DNA weavers and how your life is like a weaving. And these are Etruscan and Greek mythologies. So we have to understand that the ancients, they didn't view things the way that the Christian mind does. And this colonized mind does. So we're literally going to be at a space of changing the frequency of our minds to where we understand concepts in a more holistic and in a more innocent way. But now that we know, and now that our DNA is aware of how defiled and disgusting and low we can descend to in our thoughts, we now have the ability to guard against it. And in our innocence, we weren't able to do that in previous, more ancient times. So this part right here is the part that I want to actually break down. It's this time through the fire of our inner sons, burning up the ignorance. Just that one part. And could you believe that I could break down so much from that one part? Yet I can. And I'm going to pull up my notes. I'll just pull them up on my phone because sometimes when I switch tabs, the live will just go out, and I really hate that. Damn, that shit always gives me so much energy. I actually have the recording that I have of it on YouTube. I have it literally, okay, it's right here. I have it in my Dropbox. I listen to it all the time. Because when you need to get energy off of you, I don't know, my voice just breaks all that shit off. So, okay. Oh, thank you, Robert. Okay. Okay, this time through the fire of our inner sons, burning up in innocence. Now, I need you, it's central to understand that you have a son that exists within you. That's hard to believe, right? It sounds like it's some sort of metaphor or it's some sort of poem, but in reality it is not. It's a real concept. You have inner electricity. You have an inner frequency. So there's a couple things that we can talk about. When you go through some of the work that Delbert Blair goes through, and listening, I believe I was listening to his lecture on the sun, and I wanted to do like a full breakdown of the concept of the sun. So that's why I'm so involved in a lot of this research, because I wanted to do a full breakdown. Oh, if anybody wants to leave me a Cash App donation, I'm accepting all donations because that lets me just chill and do my research so we can get all this information out. Empress Isabel. Why is this? Y'all can leave a little something on the Cash App for the info. So now I've done a little research on this myself, so I thought this was very interesting. When scientists go to space, they can't find the sun. And how Dr. Delbert Blair, I say to him, he's one of our ancestors now, he's transcended. I can feel him with us, actually. I can feel him with me in my heart. So when he explained it, he was like, if the sun is so hot, then why is space so cold? Makes perfect sense, right? And I was like, damn. And I probably watched this lecture like 4 or 5 times, and I was like, damn, that's some real shit there. So in what scientists could figure out about the sun, I went actually to, I think I went to the NASA website, and or I went to the, and I also found some of the NASA videos on YouTube. And as I did that, I found out that there is something called a gamma ray. That is a very, very high frequency wave ray. And this gamma ray is actually produced in the center of the sun. Now, when scientists and astronauts and NASA has gone to space, they can't find the sun. Why is that? So just hearing that information alone, I had to verify it. Then I had to go and figure out why. You know what I mean? Like I personally need to know why. Now, when we understand this reality that we're essentially, this reality is like, it's like a dream. It's something that comes out of your consciousness. It's like a big hallucination. And it's a very persistent hallucination, but it is. And when you understand the mechanisms of how everything exists as a wavelength, and your brain interprets those wavelengths and those patterns, and then you see what is around you. You're based on how your body is very high tech, but it's even better than that. You know what I mean? High tech, using all these computer terminologies and stuff to describe humans. It makes sense, but it takes something away from the experience of being human, from the experience of being God and Goddess in the flesh. So our body's technology, our DNA, is far more advanced. And to think that your higher self formed you so perfectly, and formed you just exactly perfect and right, even in your astrological alignments for your purpose, you have to take all that into account. So we understand that based on the frequencies that are around us, we interpret certain things in our reality. This is how it's possible for certain individuals who change their brainwave patterns to see beyond the veil. Now, remember the gamma wave, what I've just explained to you. The gamma wave is created at the center of the sun. They call it very highly volatile, high frequency light. Okay? Then it gets filtered out through the layers of the sun and whatnot. I'm not sure I believe all that at this point, but I thought that was a very interesting thing. Now, where is our inner sun? Now, there was a study done on some master meditators by Daniel Goleman in the University of Wisconsin. He has a team of about 100 that he works with. He's a neurologist or a neuroscientist, and this was his department. Okay, so they flew out they call them Olympic meditators. I call them master meditators. They flew some of them out from Nepal, and there was actually a couple in France. And, they stuck the things that read your brain waves or whatever on their head, and they read their brain waves. And what they found was that these people predominantly are producing gamma waves. Now, the human brain does produce gamma waves. Typically, when you're trying to figure out a problem and then you finally figure it out and you have that breakthrough moment, so that means that breakthrough moment may actually be a channel. Okay? It's like it finally just flows. So what they found is that these individuals, their brain patterns are in gamma waves all the time. And then when they go into a meditation, the gamma waves, the the activity raises 600 to 700%, which is unheard of. So this is why I stress meditation as the foundation. That's why it is the first week of my course. Or the course. I can't even call it my course. That course was channeled. You know what I mean? Our course, I'll say. Because it's for all of us. It's for the people. It's for anybody who wants to get to that next level. It's like you finally have something that makes sense. So then I said, okay. So say it was some crazy coincidence that there were gamma waves in the brain and gamma waves produced in the sun, but that they happen to be different. I was like, could that be a possibility? Because I've noticed more recently that sound and light frequencies are very similar. There really is no difference. That's why you have people like, I believe Pharrell does this, where they can where their senses are mixed, so they can taste sounds, or they can hear colors and things like that, because they just have a different way of perceiving reality. This is entirely possible. And so as I think about things like that, I'm like, well, light waves and sound waves can't be that different. And how our bodies actually interpret light and sound waves isn't that different, believe it or not. So I said, okay, let's say for some strange reason, sound and light are different or happen to be different. I said, I need to make sure that they're not, that they're the same. So I said, let me look up the human brain, because we all know that in our brain we have certain why am I losing my train of thought on this? Oh my God, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, the cells in the brain, neurons, that was the word I was looking for. Okay, neurons. They're electric. And so the brain is measured in electric impulses. Now they say things like, oh, your brain power can light a light bulb for an hour or whatever, but I think that that's a gross understatement. And I think that science understates the power of the body quite often, so that we never reach for something greater, and so that we never concede that there are more possibilities out there. So this is how NASA described gamma light frequency. Gamma is the highest frequency of light in the mind. Gamma is the highest frequency as well. So let me have a parallel there. The mind is electric, right? And can be likened to a flute. So then to explain something that is a light frequency, they actually used sound. So you have to keep that in mind. So sound and light are very similar. Now I'm going off on a tangent on that because I wanted to explain it in a way that was very holistic and easy for all of you to understand. So what does this have to do with your inner sun? Right? So we know that the solar plexus is masculine, and it's called like an inner sun. But then you know that in your brain you actually produce an inner sun. And then you know that you have the power of the heart, and then you also have this beautiful goddess that's wrapped in the base of your spine, that's waiting for you to awake so that you can awaken her. Her name is Kundalini. And anybody who has had a Kundalini awakening knows there is an inner fire. Anybody who's even channeled Kali knows, because I've channeled Kali directly into myself. There is an inner fire. With Kali, it's like all your cells are vibrating though. So why would the ancients come up with something like this? Why would they come up with the solar plexus? Why do we know now that master meditators or Olympic meditators produce gamma waves in the brain? Why do we know that the sun has gamma waves in the middle of the sun, and it's the highest frequency of light that we know, that we are aware of? There could be other frequencies that we don't know about yet. And see, sometimes you have to push beyond the edge of this reality so you can see the other realities that are coexisting at the same time. You're not just here. You're in many places at once. And so now that you're aware of your inner sun, and now that you're aware that you have an inner sun, you don't need that outer sun to tell you who you are and to activate your DNA. You can activate your DNA from within. So when I said this time through the fire of our inner suns, that's literal. You literally have an inner sun. The fire is the Kundalini. The inner sun is what you can activate within yourself to get to that highest frequency. Burning up the ignorance. And that's exactly what you're doing when you're getting to the next level of consciousness. So it's all interconnected. And now I wanted to speak on, from this perspective, now that we have all this information, now that we're all aware, and if you guys appreciated the information, just leave a little something on my Cash App, please. EmpressisabelMontero is my Cash App. So now that we have all this information, we can start to see how every person is a sun. And what is a sun? A star. So every person is a star. The next part is every star is a tree. A person is a star is a tree. And it's so important that each of us raise the frequency for ourselves, for future generations, for our ancestors, because as we change, we can change the past as well. Everything in time is very fluid. So, I mean, so this is a good experience that I can use that as an example. And this is how I integrated and almost, I guess, kind of destroyed sort of like a parallel reality. I had a period of time, I want to say last summer, and then in the last probably 2 years, I was doing this on and off, where I would actually integrate my past realities. I would seek out my own energy in the multiverse and pull it into myself. Because I was like, I have a big destiny in this particular timeline, and I need all my energy. So any timelines that I'm not doing shit or I'm out of alignment or whatever, I went and destroyed them and took my energy back. I was like, this bitch can die, this one can die, y'all gotta go, because I need my energy for this timeline, and you're not doing shit with it. And I had and this is how, and me doing that work and then just forgetting about it. Last year, about a week or two ago, I had a string of deja vu. But the memory that I was remembering, it was all lower vibrating, or like me being stressed out, or like me being in a bad place or in a bad state compared to the reality that I'm living. So by having that, so I remembered it differently, but I was experiencing it, my life, in a higher vibration, which would mean that work that I did to destroy those timelines, that I wasn't serving my highest purpose, it worked. This life could have turned out very differently. But I'm live right now. I got you in a sec, cuz. Nah. Oh, okay. So essentially what I ended up doing was I actually managed to destroy those timelines and change the trajectory of my reality in this one. So your destiny and Your destiny is in your own hands. You're the one that chooses your own destiny. Your destiny is there for you, but it doesn't choose you per se. You choose it. And your higher self was so wise that it gave you, upon your inception, upon your birth, it gave you all the tools that you would need to complete the mission that is waiting for you in this reality. And that's a very important message. And I think that more of us need to understand just how unique each and every one of us are and how much each and every one of us matters. I was watching this series on Gaia earlier today, and Bashar was on it, and I love Bashar. If you guys ever heard of Bashar, Daryl channels Bashar. Sweetheart of a being. And he said something very interesting about the collective, and this sort of inspired me. And what he said was about existing and non-existence. And I'm paraphrasing here. I can't say it as beautifully as he did, but he explained reality as like existence is all that exists, because the nature of non-existence is for it not to exist. Therefore, it doesn't exist. And when we look at it in that way, right, we can understand that this is all there is, but that we have the ability to make it whatever we want it to be, based on our own inner frequency. And there are many realities happening at the same time. It's what do you choose to tap into? And the more that I've studied chakras and dimensions and numerology and all these different things and the frequency of numbers, and I actually did a video on dimensions 1 through 4. It's called "You Were Never in the Third Dimension," because we weren't. You're in the fourth, actually. We always were in the fourth. And the dimensions build upon each other, so they actually exist inside of each other. And I always use this behind me as an example, because you see how the colors are within each other? That would be like the different frequencies of the different dimensions. That's why tie-dye makes so much sense, because when you're in those altered states, you could see this more clearly. In your logical brain, it doesn't make sense. But as you start to do your spiritual work and tap in through your channels and tap in through your spiritual work and tap in through your rituals and whatnot, then you can actually also do the work of the study to back up what you're experiencing in your reality, because otherwise you may get washed under the current and you might begin to believe what other people tell you, and now you're going to, because you haven't created a square to stand on, or you are not standing on your square, you're worshiping somebody else's square, somebody else's space, somebody else's doctrine, instead of creating your own. So I encourage you today, for the collective conscious, for our future and past ancestors. You incarnate many times. Don't you think you're already in the future? And don't you think you're already in the past? Choose your destiny, because you choosing your destiny helps the collective. It helps everybody. You create a cloud. You create a frequency. You send out a vibration that helps many people, and you never know who you're going to touch. So that's my message today. I might do a card reading later, maybe a money reading. If anybody wants a love reading, because I don't know, I feel like the love vibes are strong right now. I'm doing a special little love reading deal for the next 2 days. So just message me and I'll put you guys onto that. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.